what I think is a much bigger threat to the royal family than Andrew, because whereas Andrew has destroyed himself, Meghan and Harry still have a lot more.
Or what I think is a near much bigger threat to the royal family than Andrew, because whereas Andrew has destroyed himself, Meghan and Harry still have a long way to go. Every channel right now is telling you Tom Bower called Meghan worse than Andrew. That's the line. That's the headline. Worse than Andrew, big deal. Look, worse than Andrew is an opinion. And opinions fade by Friday. What Bower actually committed to print on May 28, 2026, on a named broadcast, with a camera rolling, was something a lot more dangerous than an opinion. It was a mechanism. Here's what he said, word for word. She's a publicity junkie. She's someone who once a week thinks, I haven't been in the news. What can I do to get into the news? Use your daughter. Use the jam. Use some photographs that haven't been seen. That's a clinical diagnosis from the most experienced investigative biographer of the post-royal household working today. And the diagnosis is in a pattern. It's a loop. She manufactures a moment to stay visible. The manufactured moment generates negative coverage instead of positive. The negative coverage burns another commercial partnership. The lost partnership makes the next manufactured moment more desperate. The next moment generates worse damage, and the whole machine runs on its own destruction as fuel. Round and round. And here's the part Bower confirmed in print that nobody is saying out loud. Stopping the publicity is financially impossible because the commercial operation has no other engine left. And continuing the publicity is commercially fatal because the audience has learned to read every move as manufactured. She is trapped between silence that bankrupts her and noise that buries her. That's the sentence the rest of this video proves. Harry and Meghan are going through what we call a reckoning. A reckoning of, oh man, I messed up. I screwed up. The gossip in the royal household was about how unsuitable Meghan was, and it would all end in tears. And clearly Edward Andrew was one of the people who was saying that. I mean, so was William. By the time we get to the part where I show you the specific outfit Meghan wore to a massacre memorial and what was happening on the website she's an investor in at the exact same moment, you're going to understand exactly why Bower says this household has, quote, a long way to go before it completely self-destructs. This isn't gossip. This is a mechanism running on a public timeline, and the timeline now has receipts. So, why is this the week the diagnosis finally clicks into place? Because Bower didn't just say it in a book. He said it on camera May 28, 2026, sitting opposite royal commentator Kinsey Schofield in an interview literally titled Meghan Markle Becomes an Irritating Irrelevance. Betrayal had already published in March. The serialization in the Times had already run. But this May 28th broadcast was Bower doing something different. He wasn't selling a book anymore. He was diagnosing the operation in real time, and the diagnosis was specifically about the mechanism. The weekly cycle of manufactured publicity the household has now visibly entered. The diagnosis is named. The Sussex response to betrayal back in March told you exactly how close to the bone the book had cut. Their spokesperson on the record to People magazine called Bower's reporting, quote, deranged conspiracy and melodrama. They said his work has, quote, crossed the line from criticism into fixation. They issued the statement within 24 hours of the serialization landing in the Times. I know what you're thinking. Sure, they responded. Anybody would. But here's what makes that response interesting. This is a couple that has ignored hundreds of negative stories over the past 5 years. They don't respond. They don't engage. They let it pass. They let the lawyers handle the ones that matter. But Bower's book got a written rebuttal in 24 hours. The blistering response from the silent couple within a day that tells you everything about whether the book hit something real. The only reason why people will buy Meghan's jams and sprinkles and everything is because they love Meghan. They want to be associated with her. And here's the wider stake. This isn't a public relations problem. The Sussex commercial operation is sitting on warehouse inventory worth roughly $21.8 million in unsold stock. Netflix exited its equity position in As Ever on March 6, 2026, 11 months after launch. The latest Australian tour produced a single moment that royal commentator Richard Palmer publicly said could, quote, have alarm bells ringing at the palace and may ultimately prompt further discussion about whether there is a need to strip them of their royal titles. That's a working royal correspondent flagging title removal as a live institutional question. The mechanism Bauer diagnosed isn't theoretical. It's already producing measurable commercial and institutional damage. And the timing is this week. 5 exhibits. Watch how the loop runs. Exhibit 1, The Publicity Junkie Diagnosis, May 28, 2026. Tom Bauer on Kinsey Schofield's broadcast speaking on camera said this, quote, "She's a publicity junkie. She's someone who once a week thinks, I haven't been in the news. What can I do to get into the news? Use your daughter. Use the jam. Use some photographs that haven't been seen." Read that quote one more time because there are 3 named props sitting in it. The daughter, the jam, the photographs. 3. Each one corresponds to a specific manufactured moment from the past several months. The daughter is the closet photograph and the various intimate family content drops. The jam is the As Ever brand operation. The photographs are the 24 unreleased wedding images posted to mark the 8th anniversary. Bauer didn't pick those 3 at random. He picked them because each one is a documented instance of the same operational pattern. The household calculates the gap since the last visible moment. The household reaches for whatever prop is operationally available. The household publishes. The cycle resets. Rinse. Repeat. Wednesday. Now, look at what Bauer told the Daily Express in the same publication cycle. Quote, "The Sussexes are reaching the end of the road in Hollywood. Their behavior, lack of original talent, and suffocating self-importance have made it even more important for them to return to Britain in July, meet the King, and be revalidated as royals. That option, lack of original talent, suffocating self-importance, end of the road in Hollywood, increasingly tough future. Those aren't tabloid words. Those are Bauer's words in a named outlet with a track record of 24 best-selling investigative books behind them. That's Exhibit 1. The diagnosis is on record. The mechanism is named. Well, in my view, the marriage is okay. I mean, I think that Harry always needed and loved Meghan. It was a marriage made in heaven for him. She obviously went into the marriage with other things in mind, namely fame and fortune and a glittering career in California. But a diagnosis is only as credible as the receipts behind it. So, let me give you the receipts, starting with the moment that should have ended the operation entirely and somehow didn't. Exhibit 2, The Bondi Beach Investor Revelation, December 14, 2025. A terrorist attack at Bondi Beach in Sydney killed 15 people and injured 45. Among the survivors was a woman named Jessica Chapnick Khan. She protected her 5-year-old daughter's body with her own during the attack. Meghan and Harry visit the Bondi Surf Bathers Life-Saving Club to meet survivors and first responders. They meet Jessica Chapnick Khan. Khan later said it was, quote, of an honor to meet them. Meghan's outfit at that meeting, a $420 Mate the Label shirt, $159 Rallas Sailor jeans, an $895 P. Johnson Femme cashmere sweater, Frida Salvador trainers at $416, Roshu Walker sunglasses at $276, and a $950 Scanlan Theodore suede bag. Total value about $3,100 Australian dollars was listed for commercial sale on an AI fashion platform called One Off. Now, here's the detail that changes the entire story. According to documented reporting in the Daily Mail and AOL, Meghan is listed as an investor in One Off and she reportedly earns a commission of between 10 and 25% on items sold through the platform. The profile name on the platform is, quote, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, visited a mass casualty terror site memorial, spoke with a mother who shielded her child from gunfire, was photographed wearing a $3,000 outfit, and the outfit went live for sale on the same day on a platform where she's listed as an investor earning a documented commission on each sale. A humanitarian visit or a product shoot. But the commission rate doesn't lie. That's not bad PR. That's not a tone-deaf stylist mistake. That's a documented commercial transaction overlaid on a humanitarian visit to victims of a massacre. Royal commentator Richard Palmer described it as, quote, the starkest example yet of Harry and Meghan's efforts to commercialize their royal brand. And he added, and this is the line every channel buried, that it could, quote, have alarm bells ringing at the palace and may ultimately prompt further discussion about whether there is a need to strip them of their royal titles. From a working royal correspondent, triggered by a commercial overlay on a charity visit. That's Exhibit 2, the pattern in its most extreme form. But the same mechanism, the same calculation that puts a commercial layer on every public moment, also runs at much smaller scale, in much pettier ways. Which brings us to a card, Exhibit 3, the British Airways card and the People magazine exclusive. May 2026, the day after the Geneva trip, Meghan flies British Airways back to California. The People magazine exclusive lands within hours of the flight landing. The story, sourced to a friend of Meghan, describes a spontaneous, warm gesture from the British Airways flight crew. An anniversary card. The crew came over to wish her well. Heartwarming, unscripted, organic, the kind of moment a brand built on relatability would want in print. Now, here's what landed on social media within hours of the People exclusive. One critic, quoted in the Royal Observer, said this, quote, "Meghan stages everything for clicks. She notified the airline that it was her anniversary and brought her own card for the crew members to sign. They had to sign it. It was their job." Wait, what? Meghan arranged an anniversary card to be given to her on her flight? She pre-ordered and gave the exclusive to People magazine. The card was pre-arranged. The exclusive was pre-planned. But the source said spontaneous. The counter-narrative landed faster than the original story could circulate. And it landed with a specific mechanism. The airline was pre-notified. The card was pre-arranged. The People exclusive was pre-planned. Whether every detail of the counter-narrative is provable or not, the audience has now learned to read every move as manufactured. That's the loop closing in real time. Bauer's diagnosis predicted this exact behavior. He said she calculates weekly that she hasn't been visible enough. He said she reaches for whatever prop is operationally available. The British Airways card was the prop. The anniversary was the trigger. The People exclusive was the distribution channel. The mechanism executed exactly as named, right on schedule. And if you think that's bad, wait until you see what happened 5 days earlier. In a city in front of a memorial for dead children where the crowd that turned up to hear her speak fit inside a phone box. We're getting to that. We're also getting to the legal exposure on the inventory side after that. Stick with me. Exhibit 4, the Geneva speech and the crowd that didn't come. The story changed. Again, it's becoming a bit of an Olympic event at this point. And here's the part Bauer diagnosed without needing the footage. Meghan flew across the world. The infrastructure was readied. The press was notified. The video was filmed. And the international community did not, in plain operational terms, turn up. The Bauer verdict on the moment, in his exact published phrasing, that she keeps returning to variations on the same subject because there's nothing else she has to say. The diagnosis is brutal. The footage from the square is harder to dispute. That's Exhibit 4. The audience the operation needs is no longer arriving, but the absence of an audience hasn't stopped the operation from manufacturing the next moment. And the next moment landed 2 days later on the 8th anniversary of a wedding the household built 5 years of privacy claims around. You know, they are there, keep on seeking opportunities to appear in public, keep on seeking opportunities to promote themselves as great humanists, and keep on making mistakes because they don't realize how complicated the world is and how they're totally ill-equipped to cope with those complications. Exhibit 5, the 24 wedding photos and the $21.8 million warehouse. May 19, 2026, the 8th wedding anniversary. Meghan publishes 2 carousel posts to Instagram. 24 previously unreleased photographs from the original 2018 ceremony at St. George's Chapel. Embraces, the first dance, Prince Harry toasting, Elton John performing. Photo credit to royal photographer Chris Allerton. Here's the contradiction nobody is naming clearly enough. The 2018 wedding had a published rule. Guests were not permitted to take photographs of the ceremony or the reception. The household banned it. The justification for the ban, repeated across the years, was privacy. The entire post-royal departure was built substantially on the claim that the British press had violated the couple's privacy. Privacy was the brand. Privacy was the legal claim. Privacy was the Oprah interview. And in May 2026, 24 of the most private possible photographs from that same wedding were published to drive social media engagement metrics on an anniversary post. So, which is it? privacy or content. But you can't have both at 24 photographs. The brand built on the demand for privacy is now actively monetizing the photographs the demand for privacy was supposed to protect. That's not a small contradiction. That's the central foundation of the household's entire public narrative collapsing inside its own anniversary post. And now stack it, the wedding photos drop on May 19th. The Geneva flop is 2 days behind it. The British Airways card story lands the day after that. And underneath all three, running quietly in the warehouse, the as-ever inventory crisis is producing numbers that should make any commercial partner nervous. The January 3, 2026 website glitch revealed on internal inventory totals roughly 220,000 jars of jam in stock, 30,000 jars of honey, 90,000 candles, 80,000 tins of flour sprinkles, and around 70,000 bottles of wine. The retail value of the visible unsold inventory at the time of the glitch, about $21.8 million in stock, $21.8 million worth of lifestyle product sitting in a warehouse, not moving. I guess what she thinks is going to turn around the finances now. She's actually launching matchsticks. That's the latest. Look at this. Oh God, matchsticks. Well, I guess it's burning down Frogmore Cottage, at least that the royal family are intending to do right. While the brand's only equity partner, Netflix, exited the position on March 6, 2026, 11 months after her launch. Publicity keeps running because if it stops, the warehouse never empties. I want to slow down here because under every commercial transaction and every PR move, there are real people who didn't sign up to be props. Let me tell you about Jessica Chapnick Khan. Jessica Chapnick Khan was at Bondi Beach on December 14, 2025. When the gunfire started, she protected her 5-year-old daughter's body with her own. She survived. Her daughter survived. 15 other people did not. 4 months later, when Meghan and Harry visited the surviving families, Jessica met them. She spoke with them. She later said on the record that it was, quote, an honor to meet them. She meant it. There's no reading of her statement that makes it anything other than sincere. A mother who shielded her child from a mass murderer 4 months earlier said meeting the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was an honor. And while she was saying it, while she was sharing the worst day of her life with the couple she'd been told were there to listen, the outfit the Duchess was wearing was already listed on a commercial platform with a profile name that read, quote, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, with a commission rate of between 10 and 25% flowing to the named investor. Jessica Chapman Khan thought she was attending a memorial visit. She was, in operational terms, attending a product shoot. After the backlash landed, One-Off pulled the original image from the website, replaced it with a different photo of Meghan from earlier the same day. Clean-up operation. But the investor relationship between Meghan and One-Off is still active. The commission structure is still in place. The outfit is still associated with the visit. And Jessica Chapman Khan's name is now permanently connected in the public record to an AI fashion shopping event. She had no idea. None of those families had any idea. They thought they were meeting the people who were going to listen to them. They were, in plain operational terms, the backdrop for the next commercial drop. And there's a second human story sitting inside the anniversary post. Because the May 19th wedding photo carousel landed at a moment when, according to the published reporting, Harry was reportedly wanting to reconcile with his estranged family. His father is being treated for cancer. His brother won't speak to him. The British residence the couple was supposed to use as a UK base is being assessed for conversion into staff flats. The man whose face appeared in 24 new wedding photos that week was, by the reporting, hoping for a reconciliation that the Post did absolutely nothing to support and may have actively undermined. Given that not a single member of the British royal family was included in any of the 24 images, the anniversary served the brand. The family situation served no one. And the husband whose wedding photos were used as content didn't choose to be the prop. He was the prop anyway. Let's talk about what this actually costs in real money with real legal exposure. Start with the One-Off investor relationship. Meghan is listed on the platform under her royal title, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. She earns commission on sales. She holds an investor position. The Sandringham Agreement from January 2020, the document signed when the Sussexes stepped back from senior royal duties, restricts the commercial use of the royal brand. a commercial fashion platform where the Duchess title appears as the seller profile, generating commission income on outfits worn at humanitarian appearances, sits in precisely the space the Sandringham Agreement was designed to prevent. Richard Palmer publicly flagged the title removal discussion. He's a working royal correspondent. When he flags title removal as a possibility, he's flagging what he's heard inside the institution. The mechanism for removing a royal title requires an act of parliament. The precedent for removing one already exists. Biggest problem is still the inclusion of Harry and Meghan as a Duke and Duchess of Sussex on the website. And this would be so easy to remove cause they did for Andrew. And it's time to do it for Harry and Meghan as well. It was applied to Prince Andrew. The infrastructure for repeating the process is already in place. Now the inventory exposure. 21. $8 million in retail value sitting in warehouses as of January 3, 2026. The specific numbers: 80,391 tins of flour sprinkles, 137,465 fruit spread gift trios, 62,524 units of candles 084, 46,428 bottles of Sauvignon Blanc, 23,972 bottles of the 2024 Rose. Those aren't estimates. Those are inventory totals that were briefly visible on the public website before the glitch was patched. For a privately held company, that level of unsold stock generates monthly warehousing costs, shelf life pressure on perishables, and significant write-down risk on the non-perishable inventory. None of these figures have been disclosed in any published financial statement. The brand's only equity partner, Netflix, exited the position 11 months after launch. According to Yahoo Entertainment reporting, Netflix employees in Los Angeles were given the products for free after the inventory was moved to warehouses. That is not what an amicable split looks like. That is a departing equity partner liquidating its remaining commercial exposure in the only way available when the retail channel cannot move the volume. Truckloads of free product to staff tells you everything. And here's the Bauer forecast on the entire structure on the record to the Daily Express. Quote, "The Sussexes are reaching the end of the road in Hollywood. Their behavior, lack of original talent, and suffocating self-importance have made it even more important for them to return to Britain in July, meet the King, and be revalidated as royals. That option, I believe, will be denied to them. They face an increasingly tough future. End of the road in Hollywood, royal revalidation denied, increasingly tough future." From the investigative biographer with the most complete public picture of the financial structure published in a named outlet on the record. The mechanism is producing exactly the outcomes Bauer predicted. And the operation cannot stop manufacturing the moments that produce them. Because if it stops, the warehouse never empties, the deals don't come in, and the brand identity that justified the entire post-royal architecture collapses in plain sight. So, here's the verdict, not a recap. The verdict: the mechanism Bauer diagnosed on May 28, 2026, is now visible on a public timeline. The Bondi Beach one-off incident on April 17 proved the commercial layer is permanently attached to the humanitarian work. The Geneva speech on May 17 proved the audience the operation needs is no longer arriving. The wedding photo carousel on May 19 proved the privacy claim, the foundation of the entire post-royal narrative, has been monetized away. The British Airways card on May 20 proved that every PR move is now read by the audience as manufactured before it even lands. The January 3 inventory glitch proved the commercial pipeline behind all of it is sitting on $21.8 million in unsold stock. 6 dated events. 6 pieces of evidence. 1 loop. The publicity manufactures the moment. The moment generates negative coverage. The negative coverage burns commercial value. The lost value forces the next manufactured moment. The next moment produces sharper negative coverage. And the audience, the actual audience the commercial operation needs to convert, has learned to read the moves before they land. She is trapped between silence that bankrupts her and noise that buries her. That's the trap. Stopping the publicity is financially impossible because there is no other engine, no Spotify, no full Netflix deal, no royal validation, no UK platform, no replacement category of sponsor after Boeing left Invictus. Continuing the publicity is reputationally fatal because the one-off incident, the staged card story, the empty Geneva Plaza, and the wedding photo contradiction have collectively trained the audience to expect the manufacturer. Watch for the commercial layer underneath and call it out before the brand can capitalize on it. The Sussex spokesperson called Bauer's diagnosis deranged conspiracy and melodrama. They said his work has crossed from criticism into fixation. Fine. They issued the statement within 24 hours of the serialization, and they haven't produced anything since. That contradicts the underlying picture. They attacked the diagnosis. They didn't disprove the symptoms. Bauer's previous subjects attacked him, too. Robert Maxwell bought up publishing rights to block his work. Mohammed Al-Fayed dismissed his reporting for years. Both men were eventually proven right by history. Bauer has written 24 investigative books. He has been sued repeatedly. He has not been successfully defamed. That's a record, not a coincidence. So, here's my question, and I want a real specific theory in the comments. Not a cheer, not a reaction, a theory. The mechanism is documented. The receipts are public. The inventory is sitting in a warehouse with $21. $8 million of retail value not moving. Netflix is out. The Sandringham agreement is being publicly tested by a commercial platform where her title appears as the seller profile. If the loop can't stop and the warehouse can't empty, what specific moment do you think breaks the operation first? Is it a regulatory question about the one-off investor disclosure? Is it a Sandringham agreement enforcement triggered by the commercial title use? Is it a commercial bankruptcy in the as-ever pipeline when the inventory write-downs land? Or is it a single media moment so badly received that the next product drop has no audience left to ship to? What's the specific event you think ends this? And how long do you give the operation before that event arrives? Drop your theory below. I read every single one. This is the voice of truth. The mechanism doesn't announce itself. It just keeps running until the warehouse is empty or the brand is.